Oh, all right. Let's get these other Facebook groups in here before it's officially time to go. Boom, boom. All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. It is May 24th, Tuesday morning. And coming at you live from a very gray and once again cold Seattle sky out here in Seattle for Broncos for Breakfast. I'm Nick Kendell and joined by Scott Kennedy. How are you doing, Scott? Good morning to you.
I'm doing well. Got to sleep in a little bit. Kids are off today, some election day. We like to prove every day that politics is more important than education, so we close the schools for some sort of voting today. I'm like, what are we even doing in May? I don't even know what this is.
Is
But
that
there's
because
signs everywhere.
is it because they use the schools as like polls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Which
guess.
was interesting because when I was a kid, they still did it, but we were there and we just see the parents lined up. It was a lot harder, in the 80s.
Yeah.
And they'd have parents lined up throughout the entire school waiting to go vote. It was like a several hour process. Now if you have to walk across the street and say your name, people are claiming voter suppression and stuff. I'm like, do you remember what it used to be like, for God's sakes?
Yeah, well, that means it's gotten better. That's we'll take that. So improvement every day.
It means people complain about the most minute crap because they have a biological need to complain.
That's true, and this is way
Things
too
have
early
gotten really easy, folks. I mean, I know it's tough, but by comparison, over the last 100 years of civilization, we got it pretty good.
And we can keep getting better too, right? Every day, just like the show, gonna keep getting better too. Welcome in, everybody. Ethan's here, says good afternoon and morning, gents in Broncos country. Good to see you, Ethan. Hope you're doing well. Clee says stupid is as stupid does. That's my call. That's my calling card. Also, Luke Wright is here saying, morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Russell Wilson looking good. Can't wait. Yeah, the Broncos yesterday. Did you see any of the highlights from the first practice yesterday? I mean, it's just, we talk about practice.
Just a couple on-air throws from Russell Wilson. That's it. I haven't watched too much of it. I know it's fun, but it's, as a scout / analyst, I'm not going to get anything out of that at all. Except, hey, he's healthy.
Yep.
Ish, maybe.
Yeah. It looked like it. Looked like they're having fun. Russell Wilson's press conference after the practice yesterday was great as well. And shout out to Jose Marino coming in, giving us our first like there over on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. Be like Jose. Make sure you're liking us, subscribing on Facebook. Also, make sure you're subscribing, liking, sharing over on YouTube. Michael Ronquillo definitely is subscribed to us on YouTube. Says, good morning, Nick and Scott on Broncos for Breakfast. Go Broncos. We also got Jeremy saying, good morning. Let the disrespect commence. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I don't know if it's disrespect. It's just kind of the far end of the bell curve as far as expectations for the Broncos from the power rankings we've seen so far. So we'll get into that. Mike Gibbons in the house too. Good morning, Nick and Scott. Thank you for having the best MHH broadcast. Go Broncos. Thank you so much, Mike. It's really nice of you to say. Also, we got Dallas Kelly coming in here. $5 super saying, good morning, Broncos country. Got my text to Seattle and Denver. Let's ride. I'll see you there, Dallas.
Nice. I feel like that's a newer name too. So welcome to the show, Dallas. Make sure you're connecting with us on Twitter, following all the stuff, and don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much, Dallas. Thanks for the support. Dave Glassman also coming in with the stars over on Facebook. We appreciate you, Dave. Hope you're doing well. He gave us the indicator that was stars as well, not just the hearts, but a star there. So shout out, Dave, making it easy for me. Don't lie to me, though, Dave. Don't abuse that power. Fallen Sloth also coming in saying, good morning, Broncos country. Good to see you. Mark over on YouTube as well. Good morning to you, Mark. He's not over on Facebook for this one. Don't see the picture of Mark's face smiling, so is what it is. Also, Jeremy Bales coming in saying, sup, guys? Good to see you. Bama X in the house, too. Good morning, Broncos. And Nick, this is a new name, too. Nick Mully rocking the Thor helmet saying, good morning, guys. Finally watching live. Well, thank you so much, Nick. We appreciate you. And also Miguel Santa Steven coming in saying, good morning, fellas. Hope all is well. All is well. I need you guys, for me, just to do a collective anti-rain dance for this weekend because I am very nervous. It says that the weather is going to be about, 45 to 50 with rain in the Olympic Peninsula there. So I'm hoping that front gets pushed through quicker and I can handle the 45 to 50. Honest to God, that's okay. 45 to 50 and wet scares me being in the backcountry.
Cold rain is the worst. I've told you this story before. Growing up in the South, the winter is 40s and rain. It's
yeah.
I hate it. It's the worst. I rode a motorcycle exclusively for over a year, and it's just the worst weather there is. And I was like, I just soon move north and let it snow. So I did. I lived up in New Jersey working on Manhattan for 2 years. And my first winter there, it snowed. I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Perfect. I like the snow. I don't mind the snow. It's kind of fun to drive in the snow, all that kind of good stuff. And then April and May hit and it was 40 and raining. I'm like, oh, y'all's spring sucks. You don't miss it. You just move it down the calendar some. So I figured that out. So is my audio okay? The yard crew next door just showed up and it sounds like a motocross track.
You're good. No, you're good. I can't hear him for anything. So that's no worries. Dallas also coming in saying, been watching for a bit after the stream, but up early today, just like me. Not on social media, but love to meet up, Nick. I don't know what the plans are for myself and my wife for that game. I guess I'll have to talk with Chad because I'm going to have to be representing the MHH brand some as well, whatever that looks like before the game. But that'll be a good time. I'm excited for that. And gosh darn, the Broncos better win because what I dropped on that to go 0-8, woof. For me personally, I'm 0-8 or 0-7 in games I've attended. So we'll see. James also in the house saying, good morning, Nick and Scott. Chloe coming in here saying AFC North has the best QB division with the disposable Baker. I guess.
Good argument. We go Burrow, Allen,
Lamar,
Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson versus Russell Wilson.
Not Allen though. They have Mitch Trubisky.
Steelers. Who did I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's North.
The Bills are East.
I mixed up the Buffalo. See, I'm thinking North, and they're not North. They're North, Buffalo's East. Buffalo's East. Sorry.
Yeah.
So okay, Trubisky. Yeah. No. I think your weakest link there has got to be Pittsburgh. Would blow that one for me. That would be. You might have the best. Allen is not in the North. Scott.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is pretty good. Burrow's pretty good. Sean Watson's pretty good. But Pittsburgh is probably the outlier right there.
I would take Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes over any quarterback in the AFC North. And I would make an argument that Derek Carr is probably pretty close to, honestly, with how he played last year. I want to see what it looks like this year, but Lamar Jackson didn't have a great season last year. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it yesterday's episode. The quarterbacks who are not pure, but very run-centric, they tend to have a shorter shelf life, and Lamar has already dealt with some injuries. So I want to see what it looks like for Lamar. Pulling for him because, God, what a fun quarterback. One of my favorite players in the entire league, but I'm a skeptic at heart. It's like,
no, I'd still go West there. Yeah, for sure. For some reason, I had Allen in that, which changes things. Allen's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wrong division, dummy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would say the AFC North, I would argue, is not only the second best quarterback division, it's probably the second best division in football. You might be able to make an argument for the NFC West, but I'd probably take the AFC North overall. It's a good team. Cleveland bringing back
for the South. None.
The AFC South or the NFC South?
Doesn't matter which one. It didn't matter.
No. Yeah, they are. They're not
probably the two worst divisions. Ironically, it's all the college football is played down here, but the professional teams are, they're second fiddle to the college teams. Maybe that's it.
NFC North is pretty bad too. Outside of Green Bay, like the Vikings taking a step back. Detroit's on the up and up, but they're still bad. The Bears are bad. Now, who's not bad though? Jacob Foster coming in with the support. Only good from Jacob. Thank you so much, Jacob. We appreciate you. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're having a great Tuesday and a great week so far. Also, shout out to Kaleon. Good to see you, Kaleon. Miguel also says, send it here to New Mexico. We could use it for this big fire we got. Yeah, definitely. We've the La Nina has been kicking our butt this year, and I know that the way it works is like we're getting wetter and colder than normal, but like south in LA and stuff is drier and hotter. So
balances out somewhere. If it's dry, it means it's wet somewhere else. It's been pretty mild here in the south for the most part. We got our good rain yesterday, which was nice. All I have to do is wash my car. If we are in a drought, wash my car or run my sprinklers, and it's going to rain within 24 hours.
You need to drive your car up here. Do it today so the front can come through earlier. But we'll see. I mean, we're not going to have summer here until like we're less than a month from summer, and it's going to be 50 degrees this week. So it is what it is. Falling South also saying he'll do the anti-rain dance for me in Seattle. Do it on the Olympic Peninsula, a little further west. But if you do one for the overnight zoo program, I'm trying to schedule for Thursday for some visiting scouts. Supposed to be thunderstorms all night. Worried. Well, pulling for you at Falling South as well. That one is weather has not been my friend here recently. So we'll commiserate on that one. Reese Scott coming in saying I don't really care much about preseason rankings. We've gotten a lot of love in the past just to crash and burn. Let's just ride. You know what, Reese? Overall, you're right. But this is a content machine. This is what it's about this time of year, right? So there's no games being played. What do we have to talk about? Oh, experts and what they have to say. So
Well,
we can dive in.
it's fun also. I
Yeah.
like to see.
Yeah.
It was the same reason I liked the draft so much when I was younger. It was I got to see who was right. You know,
Yeah.
who's predicting the future, who's doing their homework, who's scouting. I think it's a little bit easier with players than teams. I don't know. But who truly is an expert? Who's good at this? And again, not everybody's going to get them right. But who's hitting on more than they're missing? I want to pay attention to what that person's saying and then realize that also, yes, there's still a possibility that things could go wildly different.
Yeah.
But it sets your expectations a little bit. One of the things I always said about doing rankings is people don't remember right and wrong. They remember positive and negative.
Yeah.
And even if you're right about a team that you said was going to be bad, people think you're a moron because you said their team was going to be bad. I'm like, I was right. Yeah, but you're still a moron. Well, that might be true. Okay.
In other ways.
But I was right.
Juan coming in saying, good morning, gentlemen. We got some of that needed rain for the fires in New Mexico and Colorado. As a first responder, it makes me happy. Enjoy your day, guys. Definitely, I am excited to.
Thank you for what you do, Juan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Juan. And we appreciate you. We also got Benjamin coming in saying, what's up, fellas? Morning and happy Taco Tuesday. Go Broncos, man. I need to get some tacos in here. Falling Sloth saying, Burrow had the highest depth of target and highest accuracy of all quarterbacks in the league last year. We'll take that over Herbert and Mahomes that blew an AFC championship game. Burrow's good. There's no doubt about it. If you want to argue, I don't think you can argue Burrow over Mahomes, given the sample size of what Mahomes has done. But if you want to take Burrow over Justin Herbert, God bless you. I'm not going to fight you too hard. I don't feel that strongly about it. I feel like probably close to the same tier. I just think Herbert's got better physical tools and played on he had a more detrimental situation and has put up better statistics overall. And I've just been more impressed with the tape. But Burrow is damn good as well. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah, no, I mean, line them up like a tennis match or a wrestling match. 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, and who gets the win. As good as Burrow is, if you're lining them up like wrestlers or something, you're probably playing him in the 2 slot because he's going to be beat by Mahomes. It's just he doesn't quite have the track record there. He got hot last year, but he's second year in the league. So
Yeah,
Mahomes wins that one. Okay, so go 2. Who's your number 2? I'm going Russell Wilson. So who's 2 in the north end?
Probably Watson.
You think over Lamar Jackson?
I mean, I trust his style of play more. And even though this is another example here, you're talking about quarterbacks not doing well, or teams not doing well. Deshaun Watson 2 years ago was absolutely incredible. His output, everything, but it was on a bad team, so they lost still. But I mean, anybody who watched the Texans knew that Deshaun Watson was special on the field.
Yeah, well, you drop him on the Patriots, on Brady's Patriots, and he's probably got 5 rings too.
Yeah,
it is a team game. Watson's pretty good, but again, can he do it? I mean, when you're playing on a team like the Texans, it's always garbage time.
Yeah, true.
The pressure's off. You want to win. Don't get me wrong, but you're playing from behind a lot. Your team stinks. There's no expectations, so you put $250 million of guaranteed, and all of the negative press is going to come against you, and we'll see what Deshaun Watson's made out of. Now, I believe in him as a player. I always have. I said, he played high school football not too far from here, and he's one of the best cerebral quarterbacks I've ever seen. He just had that it factor, and for on the field, he's pretty good. So this is closer than you might think. Actually, I think it just comes down to the number 4 quarterback is a wash. I mean, that's a wipeout right now when you got Trubisky and Pickett against Carr.
Yeah, no, 100%. We'll see how it ranks this year too. But I think, again, coming back to Burrow versus Herbert, if you want to take Burrow, I'm not going to fight you too hard. If your argument is playoff success versus non-playoff success after just 2 seasons in the league, I'm not going to take that argument too seriously because the sample size is immensely small. And as you already said, it is very much a team game. It's not just a team game. It's also coach, scheme, situation, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm a Herbert truther, I guess is how you can call me that. And I'll wear that one, unfortunately, because he's in the Broncos division. EJ coming in saying, good morning, Nick and Scott and Broncos country. The fight is about the only highlight I've seen from Brandon Langley. Have you seen this, Scott?
I have. I was incredibly impressed from what we saw, which was someone else hitting him, him ending it quickly, backing off. That guy gets back up in his face again, and he didn't just end his life. I was incredibly impressed with Brendan Langley's restraint, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been in those situations and I see red and speak in tongues, and until I'm pulled off. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I thought he was terrific. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah.
Put me on that jury, and I got no problem with how Brandon Langley conducted himself. Not a bit.
Yeah. I am wondering if the video is cut up at all. I mean, we didn't see the lead up interaction to it, so who knows?
But I saw him get hit, and I mean, everything to me made it look like that was the first time, because that guard didn't look like he'd been hit before, because you saw it once he was hit.
Yeah.
So
the only thing that would have been a little better is if the baggage claim kind of took him off after he got knocked down to the kiosk. We don't condone violence, guys, but
gets up, steps, boom. I mean,
yeah.
I like I said, I was incredibly impressed. As Mike Tyson said, social media has made people way too comfortable for, not getting punched in the face. And that guy threw the first shot, and Brendan Langley could have ended that guy. Instead, he ended it without seriously hurting that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he showed incredible restraint.
Overall, I'd say pretty good. I would agree with you. But you know me, I want all the facts. Miguel coming in saying,
from what we saw, which was what looked like a first hit to the last hits to what could have been a lot more hits.
Yeah. There was a incident, not an incident, I guess you can call it an incident, when Langley was on the Broncos as well, where there was a fight kind of breaking out between Raiders offensive tackle Donald Penn and somebody on the Broncos. Might have been Aqib Talib. And Brendan Langley was getting in there, squaring up quickly. I remember that pretty well also. So Langley didn't last long in the NFL. I think he's a wide receiver in the Canadian Football League now. But good athlete, and thanks for the content, I guess. I think he was arrested. I don't know the specifics, but we'll see what comes out of that.
So you put me on that jury, and I'm turning them loose.
Maybe a little community service. I don't know. For both of them. How is Miguel coming in here saying, why is Bucky Brooks hating so much? Or is he right about the Broncos having a lesser 53-man roster? We're going to find out. I mean, it's the hot take season, right? And if you find a sticking point, that's fine. I mean, he's probably saying what he believes, and that's okay with me, because the Broncos right now have a lot of question marks. I disagree with him on a good bit of his analysis on the Broncos specifically, but we're going to find out, right? The games are going to be played, and we're going to find out who's right and who's wrong. And we're going to gather more information as those games are played. So it's fine for now. If he's saying that when the Broncos are beating teams and it becomes a but kind of situation, then we can have some issues. Andrew Lamp coming in here with the Facebook support saying good morning with the new picture as well. Andrew Lamp, shout out to you, the kid rocking out there. I hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for the support. We appreciate you.
I'm just kind of reading through some of the comments. As like Reese Scott says that Langley was arrested for simple assault. The employee was fired immediately, which happens. Mm-hmm. You go and you show up at a fight and one guy's bloody, gets arrested. That's the I won the fight look. I mean, that happens. I bet those charges don't stick very hard. So being arrested is one thing. Being arraigned and convicted is another.
Yeah. No, that's
arrested standard operating procedure or something like that.
Yep. Hopefully it all comes out and works out in the end, and everybody's better for it having happened. But Chloe coming in and saying Trubisky will look good in Pittsburgh. The other thing about we didn't talk about the AFC North quarterbacks. They drafted Kenny Pickett. So is it going to be Trubisky? Is it going to be Pickett? Honest to God, I don't care, because I don't have to worry about that. That could have been the Broncos, and thank God it's not.
You do care, though. I mean, as a fan of the process, we want to see, was this really the worst quarterback class in history? He was the first one taken off the books by a long shot.
Yeah.
In essence, now it looks like they reached a little bit, considering like how much longer would he have lasted if they hadn't picked him? So how does he turn out? So we'll see.
We're gonna find out. It'll be great, and definitely find out. Greg Smith coming in saying, "Good morning, Broncos for breakfast. 2 years ago today since passing of my kid's mom." Man, Greg,
I remember we were here when we were here last year for you, and we're glad we're here for you again, and hope everything's going okay. I hope it's never going to be easy, dude, but I hope at least it's getting easier for you, and it's easier to remember the good times, and the hard times don't hurt us quite as much.
Yeah, absolutely. Aloha to you as well, Greg. We don't know what to say. And he also says, agree, definitely have a lot more, could have been a lot more shots as far as Brendan Langley coming out here. Diamond coming in here too, saying Langley gave that dude a nasty 2-piece of spicy chicken. Woo. So definitely. Ryan Kangi coming in here. I don't feel like I ever pronounce Ryan's name. We don't just say Ryan, but good morning. Power rankings are fun, especially if it proves the experts wrong. Can't wait for the season. Well, that's why we don't do any power rankings on here, because we will be proven wrong immediately. Also, you don't want to put expert title on us. So thank you so much, Ryan. Yeah, let's get into it. So the Broncos are ranked by NBC Sports, longtime NFL beat writer. I think I'd call him a writer more than an analyst, but one of the more plugged in people in the NFL media circle, in Peter King. Been doing it for a long time. Sports Illustrated, now NBC Sports. And farthest I've seen the Broncos ranked on one of these rankings so far, the Broncos coming in at 14 overall. So I guess essentially you can say a league average football team at 14 overall, pretty close to league average. And Peter King writes, when the Broncos look back at the Russell Wilson trade, they should be grateful not only for getting the durable Russell Wilson. Seattle games in the last 10 years, 176. Wilson starts in the last 10 years, 174. Very durable, but also for not giving up left tackle Garrett Bowles or one of the three plum receivers. Tight end Noah Fant and defensive end Shelby Harris are nice pieces, but were worth Wilson, along, of course, with denuding 2 drafts. Good word there, Peter. You pay what you have to pay to get a franchise quarterback. Now, can Wilson hit the ground running? Let's look at Denver's new head coach, Nathaniel Hackett's hands on history, along with Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. In 2019, LaFleur and Hackett's first year in Green Bay, Rodgers took 2.92 seconds from snap to throw, a lot, and averaged 7.2 yards per attempt. By 2020, Rodgers' first 2 straight MVP years, the time to throw was down to 2.68 seconds, and his yards per attempt was up to 8.1, both very good. Wilson has to learn the Hackett way fast to hit the ground running in an impossible division. So Broncos 14th overall. Also, he guesses the Broncos record. He says the Broncos finish 7-10 and out of the playoffs.
Wow. 14, what was 14 last year? 14 would have had you drafted in what? 20th?
About, yep.
So I bet that was a winning record. 9-8 at worst.
I think the 7-10, the 14 is contrasted to the 7-10.
Falcons were 7-10 last year, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I know the Broncos were too, but you're saying they didn't get better? Really?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's that's a surprising record from Peter King.
Again, like I said, that's the one that got me. I'm like, 14, okay. You're saying 9-8 maybe. Could happen. No big deal, but that's still in the upper half. That's 9-8, maybe even 10-6 to finish 14. 7-10?
Yeah.
No, I'll take the over on that one. What I like to say when people do that stuff is, let's put a year's salary on it. I'll take the over.
Yeah.
You said it there. I'll take the over. Let's put a year's salary on it. Back it up.
Yeah. 7-10 is pretty low. I wouldn't even I think if you lose Russell Wilson, then everything's off the table. But as far as how this team is set up, 7-10 just doesn't seem very I think 8 wins is probably closer to the floor, but you never know. It's tough, but 7 is the lowest I've definitely seen. Savage Boy Kev coming in over on Twitch. Appreciate you, our Twitch listeners. He says the Broncos are going to have a Rams-ish 2021 season. Sutton and Patrick are going to have 1,000 yards, 13-4 until proven otherwise. Well, heck,
these are last year's records.
Oh, that was last year's records on there?
Yeah, these are last year's records. So
okay,
he's saying 14th. Last year was 7-10 out of the playoffs.
Okay, you're right.
The parentheses is last year's.
Good. Okay. You're right. That's much better. So 14, he probably has them going.
14 is
not great.
10-7 at best. Is right in that neighborhood. 10-7, 9-8.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm okay with 14. I don't think that's crazy low. That's okay.
Yeah.
A 7-10 is kind of silly to me.
Yeah.
And he agrees. To be fair, Peter King agrees that, no, I'm not saying 7-10. 7-10 would be between 25 and 32.
Yeah.
Would be a top 8 pick, a top 10 pick. So that makes a little more sense.
You're right. Good catch. That makes way more sense. Some of the teams that he has ranked above Denver. Good to sneeze. Oh, there it goes. Okay,
I thought this was a prop. Like, again, some of them that they have ranked above.
No,
Chargers at 2.
Yeah, God, that's okay. So might as well just do it now. Number 1 overall, he has the Buffalo Bills. I don't have any issue with that at all. I think they're the number 2 team in football in DVOA last season, behind or number 1. The Cowboys were really high up there too because their point differential. They were really beaten up on paper Tigers, but the Cowboys were high as well. But the Bills, number 1. I don't have any problem with that. The Chargers number 2, pretty shocking to me. That's pretty high. He's drinking the Justin Herbert Kool-Aid even more than me. And the Chargers made a bunch of good defensive signings. I get it. But 2 seems pretty high. Kansas City 3, the Rams 4, reigning Super Bowl champs 4. So 3 AFC teams before we get to an NFC. The Green Bay 5, Tampa Bay 6. There's our 3 NFC teams right in a row. I bet you we won't see an NFC team again for a second now. Cincinnati 7, Baltimore 8, Philadelphia 9, a little shocking for that one for me. Buying the Jalen Hurts stuff there. San Francisco 10, also a little bit shocking to me. New Orleans 11 over Denver. That's also surprising. Tennessee over Denver at 12. And Las Vegas Raiders at 13. So the Broncos are last place in the division, according to Peter King there. It's a good division because all of them in the top 14. And behind some pretty surprising teams there. Also, that he would put Denver above the Cowboys at 15, Miami at 16, New England at 17, Cleveland at 18. I think there's a pretty big drop after that. Oh, Colts all the way down at 21 too. That's surprising to me as well. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
but this
it's hard
is
to picture the Colts getting worse,
especially with how bad the AFC South is.
You know what? I mean, it's hard to picture the Colts getting worse.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out, but we'll keep getting into that. Reese coming in saying, I'm loving the daily highlights on each player and their potential to make the 53-man roster. I think we have raised the bar on the overall strength of the team for both Peyton seasons. Yes, they have. Obviously, part of the reason that the Broncos have been able to improve the way they have is because of the moves that were previous to Peyton as well. Broncos had a lot of draft picks 2 years ago because of trades and whatnot that Elway as general manager set up. The Broncos have been able to make some contract signings because they didn't pay many super detrimental contracts in a couple of the seasons leading up to it. Denver was in a healthy cap space. So all that did set up for Peyton to be aggressive and make moves. And here we are right now. But this team, this roster is definitely better than it was 2 years ago when we were talking ourselves into, what was it, that 4-1 stretch from Drew Lock down the stretch on a kind of a paper tiger schedule.
Yeah, Mark coming in with the big stars. Thank you for the support, Mark. He says he also got his DT jersey yesterday. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Says, I think we have a few growing pains early, but think we're a much better team. Hopefully our record will show that. The good news is your first half of your schedule is considerably easier, at least on paper, at the beginning than the second half. So you can take some of those growing pains and come out of this at worst, like 6-3 in your first 9. You should. You need to come out of this pretty healthy in the first half. And then, if you're splitting a lot of games down the stretch, you could finish in the 12-5 range still. Yeah. I think when we were going through this, I think we both said basically 7-2 after the first 9. Now, I have to say this again because it bothers me because I picked 3 wins in a row. And I'm like, but I don't think they're going to win these 3 games. That's a probability thing. If you've got a 60% chance, you've got about an 18% chance of winning 3 in a row at 60%. So I don't think they'll win 3 in a row. So even though I picked them to win 3 in a row, I'm saying they're losing one of those games. I just don't know which one. Coffee's working good. Can you tell, Nick? It is 7-2. And then you might split the ones down the stretch. You go 3-3, you finish that direction. 4-4, you're still looking at, 11-6. Okay. That's good. People are saying, oh, they stumbled down the stretch, blah, blah, blah. They're only 500 in the last 8 games. Last 8 games are tough. They're real tough.
Yeah.
So get a lead, get out early. And if it looks like you're stumbling as you're going down the stretch, so what? Get 11-7, get at least a home game in there and get healthy for the playoffs.
Stay healthy. God, that might be the big thing there. Who can avoid the big injury in the AFC West? We'll see. Thank you so much for the support, Mark. We appreciate you coming in first on YouTube, then coming back around on Facebook. I don't think I didn't notice, Mark. Shane coming in here with the $5 saying, Morning, Nick and Scott. What are your guys' opinions on Russell Wilson's comments after OTAs yesterday? Loved his enthusiasm and optimism. Still very much in the honeymoon phase over here for me. Love everything that Russell Wilson's saying and doing, and excited to have a quarterback that's personality is not overshadowing his ability and play on the field. I could give a hoot. He could be Eli Manning as far as personality, giving the bird to the camera. If he's a good quarterback, then that's great. I mean, obviously I have a line as far as a person, but the personality stuff, don't care. Good quarterback. Yeah.
Wilson's we don't have a line as far as dullness. You can be a complete 0 for dullness, and we're okay with that.
Yeah, 100%. So I love the enthusiasm and the optimism, and I just love what he's doing for Broncos country. The The fan base is more together now. I mean, a year ago right now, the arguments of Teddy versus Drew Lock, again, were it just exercises in quarterback nihilism because it doesn't really matter. They're both leading you to a terrible place.
Have you written that before? Because that one didn't. That was good.
Quarterback nihilism.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
written that down before, haven't you? In an
yeah,
article. Yeah.
yep, yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's real. It doesn't matter. Just, you still suck. But not anymore. Because we have some reality. Unless Peter King says we suck with the 14 overall. That's not really. That's average. Whatever.
It's better than
But
average. It's like I said, it's 9-8. 9-8 we kind of think of as a floor. That's not awful. That's not
no.
complete disrespect. That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. But Shane, thank you so much for this. We do love the enthusiasm and the optimism. They're going to say everything right. This is he's a well-versed person as far as the PR goes. Him and Sierra do a really good job with that. Actually, I guess I can say this on here now. I went boating on Saturday. That's why I was a little bit late, and that's why my forehead is burnt. And we went boating on Lake Washington, and we passed Russell Wilson and Sierra's old house out there on Mercer Island. And the boat captain was really disappointed that Russell Wilson was traded because Russell Wilson used to come out and wave to everybody on the boat and kind of throw a football around or whatnot as a show. So he said Russell Wilson was an awesome guy, paid for his entire street to be repaved and didn't charge his neighbors anything. So I guess when you got Russell Wilson, Sierra money, you can do that. Also passed Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos' house.
Yeah, not everybody does. Just because they can doesn't mean they do. So good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos' house were incredible too. Very jealous. But we'll keep moving here. Savage Boy Kev saying, I remember when at this time last year we were trying to figure out which QB threw which touchdown or interception. Man, tough times. Absolutely. It's kind of like the way I look at the Josh McDaniels era for the Broncos. Those were some rough, embarrassing years. I mean, the Spygate 2.0, really embarrassing for the Broncos franchise. But without those years, you don't get Peyton Manning, you don't get Von Miller, and we aren't here right now. So I'm not a country music guy, but it is the Rascal Flatts, bless the broken road, because led me straight to Peyton freaking Manning. Gotta love Peyton.
Well, it's like that with relationships.
Yeah.
You like look back, you're like, man, I should have been better to this one or gone after this one or this one. It's like, but am I happy where I am now? Yeah. Well, then shut up and quit dwelling on it, you crazy person. That's the voices in my head. I apologize. Yeah. I wasn't speaking to any of y'all. So, Bart, got your jersey. Thank you again. Thank you so much. And Peter Middleton coming in also real quick. We'll hit Kevin Zebulon. Then we'll come back to you, Peter. Says, does Awuzurike compare to someone like Chris Jones at all? Nick, you've watched Chris Jones a lot more than I have.
He's not the pass rusher that Chris Jones is. Chris Jones has incredible speed to power and the ability to penetrate as a pass rusher and win with power and length. Awuzurike is much more of he's going to stand up and he can jolt you, but I think he's going to control the offensive lineman more versus attacking a gap. So Chris Jones is a rare type of athlete and explosion out of his stance and whatnot that I do not see from Awuzurike. So probably not. I think you're more likely going to see a Stephen Tuitt, if that name means anything for you, to you guys. From it, he went to Notre Dame. He was a massive man, 3-4 defensive end, and been a good run plug for the Steelers when he's been healthy out there. But I think that's much more of his style of play. Maybe you can get an Ashawn Robinson type as well, but I do not see the Chris Jones pass rush ability. I mean, Chris Jones is so athletic that the Chiefs tried him at edge last year in some sub packages kind of things where they try to be heavier up front to be lighter on the back end. So no, he's not Chris Jones. And if he is Chris Jones, that would mean the Broncos pass rush this season is going to be pretty damn special. So Peter Middleton coming in saying Locke playing well in OTAs early days, but hope he somehow sticks. And I think he's talking about safety PJ Locke here.
PJ Locke, yep.
Honestly, what would be best case for the Broncos with PJ Locke? He plays so well in preseason that somebody wants to trade for him and we can get a 5th round pick for him, because you have a glut of safeties right now on this roster. Ones that were brought in specifically on the back end, more so for special teams, and ones that you have more years of cost control than PJ Locke, which does matter long-term for the roster building process. So ideally Locke plays really well and somebody wants to send you a pick for him. Even if you have to trade like Locke in a 7th to go get a 5th round pick, you're moving up, and then you can later turn that 5th into a 7th and a futures 5th. It's just keep playing those wheel and deal games. But PJ Locke really did think he did well in preseason last year as well. He seems pretty obviously 3rd or 4th on the depth chart if that's going to happen, because Caden Stern's more versatile than him. And if you guys have followed the show at all, you know how much I value and the league now values versatility from the safety position, the ability to play the slot, the box, dime, nickel, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. But pulling for PJ Locke, he's a good player, really good preseason last year too.
So what if there's a scenario, you mentioned a trade scenario? Is it I've already forgotten his name, Jamar Johnson?
Yeah.
The other safety that was drafted last year behind Stearns. You know, what if it's one of those calls like, well, we want to hold on to Locke, but would you take Jamar Johnson? You know, is that a scenario that could play out too? Or do you think he's got some upside and could see some time between the two of them? Which would you rather see on the Broncos roster?
I think I'd rather see Jamar Johnson because you have 3 years of control left. And
I'm just thinking, who's going to help my team win more? Yep. Right now, I think PJ Locke might be that guy.
Yeah, and just as far as the immediate return, it's going to come down to special teams. That'll be the biggest one. Who can contribute on special teams? We'll see. I mean, they drafted safety as well. Delaire and Yell will be a good safety for them, probably. I mean, 5th round pick. He's going to be valuable for them long term. And they also paid J.R. Reed, right, to come over from the Giants. He's a former Georgia Bulldog and a special teams guy. So see how it plays out. Reese Scott coming in saying, going with the $20, flashing orange on us.
The big orange here. Thank you, Reese.
We really appreciate it. That's very helpful. It's great. Going to be nice to see an aggressive offense again. Miss that fear of God look in opposing defenses. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be a fear of God look. They don't need to look bored and like going to sleep on the field. I look like nap time sometimes going up against the Broncos offense these last few years. So will be a lot more fun. A lot of fun players as well.
Well, and Reese, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to even more than an aggressive offense, because frankly, I actually like the sadistic nature of football, that if I can just ground you down into the turf and run 4 yards and just beat you up and score touchdowns, I'm pretty happy. I'm looking forward to more aggressive defense. I cannot stand sit back and wait. I want to attack. And I think that's what we've seen from Ejiro Evero has talked about it. I don't remember who said it, but I'll repeat it again. But they were quoting Evero saying, if we don't get there with 4, we'll send 5. If we can't get there with 5, we'll send 6, et cetera, et cetera. I'm looking forward to as much of an attacking defense instead of this bend but don't break snooze fest. I hate it. I want to attack. I want to sack the quarterback. I want to force turnovers. I want to see some big plays go the other way. That's okay. Again, I'm a neutral here, and it's just more fun. If we're not having fun, what the hell are we doing here? Last year was not fun, offense or defense.
I had some fun. It was more fun than some of the previous seasons. But
this is the first year watching, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't.
Yeah. No, it's
there's a lot of the arguments about which quarterback should have been picked. It's like, and even now I'm like, well, we proved that Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the right quarterback. Doesn't mean you had a right answer. You didn't. It doesn't, just because one was wrong doesn't mean the other one was right. You didn't have an answer. You didn't have an answer that was going to elevate this team the way things were set up.
No.
It was just. It wasn't. I mean, I had the discussion of talking football is always fun. I'm just talking about watching the games themselves. Again, I called it suffer ball for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Kathy coming in. Morning, y'all. Afternoon for me. Hope you're doing well, Kathy. Appreciate to see you. Perez Robert. Also, this is a name I don't recognize. Good morning, fellas. Love the show always. Thank you so much, Perez. We appreciate you. Michael coming in saying, which undrafted player will make the Broncos 53-man roster? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Jalen Vigil. I think that the Broncos' depth in the wide receiver room is very questionable right now. I know you were a big Seth Williams guy in the draft, but if you're going to be that 5th wide receiver, you better damn well be able to be a gunner. And we have not seen that from Seth Williams, really. We haven't seen that from Tyree Cleveland. So Jalen Vigil, good gunner. I think that's an easy pathway, not an easy pathway, but definitely a pathway to the field.
Yeah, Seth Williams has the tools. Now, can he put it all together? There's a reason why he fell. There's a reason why we saw, I think at the end, didn't he get in the last game or two, made a nice play, but that's it. That's a flash. That's a small sample size. So, he's got to fight. He's got to fight to make this roster too. Which undrafted player makes it 53 if he's healthy? Chris Allen. Not Chris Allen. Who am I thinking? The edge from Alabama.
Christopher Allen.
No. Christopher Allen. Okay. Chris Allen. He got decent guaranteed money, a nice signing bonus to come as an undrafted free agent. So if he's healthy, that's your answer for me.
And the last one I want to give a shout out here to, as far as the undrafted free agents, sounds like there's decent early buzz. I can't remember. One of the coaches even might have given him a shout out. Was Kenai Mauga, off ball stack linebacker, whatever, USC. Yep. And he's been, I think Evero or the linebackers coach or somebody was talking about how he stood out in the rookie training camp as well. So there's your linebacker talk, Ethan. We found a linebacker for you, but Mauga, maybe he beats out somebody like Justin Strnad, who was a major disappointment last season. So major disappointment. Yeah. Gosh.
Talking about Top Gun, Nick probably hasn't watched it. He is not doing his homework.
I have been extremely busy. It's definitely an excuse, but I have been extremely busy. I haven't been able to even go to sleep until midnight most nights. I'm honestly starting to run on fumes.
Jeremy says, I rewatched it last night. It was my wife's suggestion. So I think, and I'm down to one, but I'm having some StreamYard connection issues right now. So hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
The two movies I saw the most in the theater were The Black Stallion when I was a kid, and then The Lost Boys. I saw them each 5 times in the theater. Top Gun is my wife's favorite movie. I think she saw it something like 20 times in the theater. Something just insane. I'm telling you, you're not going to have any trouble getting either side of the spectrum, women, men, however you happen to like, whatever your cup of tea happens to be, you're not going to have any trouble getting them to watch Top Gun.
Gosh, Scott, I've only ever seen a movie in the theaters multiple times once in my life.
Really?
And can you guess which one it is?
No, I don't have any idea. One of the Marvels?
No. The first Pokemon movie. When I was like 6 or 7 years old. I think I went and saw it 3 times.
Don't admit to that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I saw, and what's funny, I was 14 or 15 for The Lost Boys, and on my 6th time to go, and that would have broken my record, they said, you're not old enough to get in. I'm like, are you joking? Really? I can act this movie out in stages for you if you need me to. So I didn't see that 6 times in the theater. So my record should not ever be broken. Funny story. It was someone I was working with goes, oh, you have a daughter. You've seen Frozen, right? I said, you mean today? So it changes, with the kids' movies at home. The movie I've seen the most is Cars. So when my son didn't have any competition for the television, hey, buddy, you want to watch something? Watch Cars. We watched Cars 200 times. Gary Lee Palmer coming in. Nick and Scott, good morning. I just ignore the Boo Bears. Yeah, me too. I don't see people getting all upset about Stephen A. Smith or, down in this neck of the woods. Who was the guy? It was Paul Feinbaum. I'm like, change the channel. It's real easy. Mute. I don't get upset about what they say. I don't care. They are not important to me at all. I agree with you. They don't have our interest at heart. They are pitching to a different audience. There could be perfectly honest too. Again, on a general statement here, I absolutely agree with you. I just gave you some examples. But Peter King's not so far out in left field with the 14th ranked power rankings that it's asinine. Like I said, that's the lower end that's hopefully closer to the floor. That's a 9-8, 10-7 type of record, which is within the realm of possibility. So appreciate you, Gary.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, Gary. Shout out to you. Also, we got what's this one? XOXO, Mr. X, and Dr. Science saying, let's roll. Shout out to you. We are definitely rolling here. We got K-Hop also coming in here. K-Hop 16. Other than Garrett Bowles, who do you guys think will make a huge impact on the offensive line this season? It's probably, I think the obvious answer here for that would be Quinn Miners. He's probably the best athlete of the bunch. You can make the argument he's an ascending player, given he's coming from Wisconsin to Whitewater, and first year in an NFL program is a big difference. First year where he's not prepping for the draft, also actually working towards football stuff, not combine stuff. So you'd hope that it's a better year for him. And I'm not worried about his transition also in the blocking scheme because he's a very good athlete. It's not like he's a plotter who can't really move from point A to point B where he needs to be in a power scheme. Quinn Miners can move. So I'm excited to see what he can do. He could have a big impact this season.
So Falling Sloth says, I want the defense to attack and Neil Scott as a Jerry Glanville Grit Splits Falcons fan. That was actually a little bit before my time. The first real memories I have of the NFL were started about 1980. And the Grit Splits was in the 70s. That was a little bit before me. But I fully remember the 85 Bears. Absolutely. I was 12 years old. That leaves an impression. The 92 Alabama Crimson Tide, that defense was absolutely unbelievable. The 95 Nebraska, cover your ears, Nick. The 95 Nebraska Cornhuskers, what they did on both sides of the line of scrimmage to that Florida Gators team was maybe the best college football team I've ever watched. Jerry Johnson's Miami Hurricanes and the speed that they had on defense and their attack mind. So all these, we're talking about teams right there from 12 to 25 for me. Yeah, that leaves an impression. But again, the bend but don't break isn't for me. I've watched the prevent defenses fail too often. Man, go get the damn quarterback. If you're going to get beat swinging. Don't stand there and watch strike three.
I think we have a little bit of a philosophical difference on this. I can take it's harder to do.
The game has changed. The game has changed since all the times I've watched. You're not allowed to play defense anymore. You're not allowed to jam the receivers or hit them hard or go after the quarterback. You're not allowed to. The game's changed.
Yeah, and I agree with you that number one is getting after the quarterback, but you need to do it where you're not making yourself vulnerable to backbreaking plays on the back end, because the more offensive plays the team has to run to score, the more likely they're going to make a mistake and put themselves in a situation where it's easier for you. So don't give up.
Now, Nick, is you've got an offense that can come right back at you. Hackett would be like, great, they scored.
Yep.
So well, let's get the ball to Russ. We're okay. Yeah. And that was the fear. Was, there was no trust in the offense, and that's the head coach's fault.
Yep.
There's no trust in your offense and your quarterback in order to bail yourself out from giving up big plays. You weren't a complete team. A more complete team, you can take more chances because you've got both sides. If one falls, the other picks you up. That's what we're hoping from the Denver Broncos this year, and it should be a hell of a lot more fun.
And hopefully it leads to more turnovers. That's probably the biggest thing here. It's, you're talking about getting after the quarterback. That's one thing, and I agree with, but the Broncos need to be able to take away the explosive pass plays from opposing team, especially in the AFC West, while also getting more hands on the ball. That's just not been.
And Nick, what I've said from the very beginning. The most dangerous defenses in the world are the ones that can pressure the quarterback with their base front. If you can do that, you are filthy. If you can get pressure with a 4-man front, or however you want to do it, you're going to be a good defense flat out. You don't want to have to bring blitzes and take away. Absolutely. But getting after the quarterback with your 4 is a recipe for success. Absolutely.
100%. Also a recipe for success. XOXO, Mr. X and Dr. Science come in with a $2 super sticker over on YouTube. Scott, any idea what the super sticker is?
I can look it up pretty quick.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. XO. We appreciate you. He also said, had my morning coffee and I feel like Top Gun. That's good. Also says, let's cook, baby.
It's the psychedelic pear saying it looked like he just worked out and he's kind of rocking back and forth saying cool.
Well,
so thank you, Dr. Science.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. X and Dr. Science. I'm a Mr. X to a Dr. Science as well. So that's a shout out to my wife. But yeah, no, guys, we're starting to run up on our time here. Gonna get out here pretty soon. The final thoughts on Peter King and his 14th ranking and what he said. Did anything egregious there? I mean, the Chargers, number 2 in the NFL, Chiefs 3, Raiders above Denver. That's my big thing. I don't know how you can look at the Raiders Broncos roster in comparison and think that the Raiders roster is going to be better.
One of my takes is 1/3 rounding. 1/3 of his top 14 are AFC West teams. So he thinks that it's going to be. He calls it an impossible division.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go. Hey, this team's going to be 12-6 if they're 1-5 in the division. I'm thinking. 3-3 in the division gets you to be possibly 12-5. Is out there. It's like, oh, they're going to beat up on each other. That's okay. And Elton, appreciate the stars, my friend. Thank you so much for coming in with the support. I haven't seen you in a while, but I do recognize the name and the avatar. So the screen image. So I know this isn't quite a new name. Just haven't seen you in a bit. So appreciate you being here. But my final thoughts are, I don't think the Saints should be ahead, especially in a power rankings. The Saints could maybe have a better record based on the NFC South being weaker or a weaker schedule or those type of things. But if you line them up head to head and play them 10 times, the Broncos win 8 of them. Okay. That's what power rankings are supposed to be. But I don't think it's too egregious. I really don't. That's a 9-8, 10-7 type of finish, which isn't out of the question whatsoever.
Yeah. Absolutely. And FC Donnelly coming in saying Broncos' new defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, has been under Vic Fangio and the King Wade Phillips. I see a bend don't break defense with an aggressive blitz on 3rd down. Definitely impossible. The Broncos have to
Phillips like to get after it.
I was going to say Wade Phillips did like the blitz. So did Monty Kiffin, who I believe he worked under also. Worked under Raheem Morris, worked under Brandon Staley. So a lot of different defensive mind schemes, themes, tenets. We'll see how it works out for Evero. Again, scheme is important, but in the end, it's about the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's. So you're talking about blitzing on third down. The Broncos do have one thing in their pocket working for them as far as being aggressive on third down. It's that we've talked about it on the show already. Broncos offense should be much better to the point where other teams feel a little bit of pressure to have to go do something. They don't have to just play, protect the ball. They have to go out there and make something happen. And when you feel that pressure, that's when you make a mistake because you're going to do more volatile decisions with the football. So, but whether that be less max protect, pushing the envelope a little bit more further down the field, et cetera, et cetera. The big question for me right now is, do the Broncos earn those third down blitzes by playing good enough run defense on first and second down? Because let me tell you, there's a big difference on what you can do schematically, pressure-wise on a 3rd and 8 versus a 3rd and 2. 3rd and 8, you can totally change your personnel. Bradley Chubb, we keep talking about, reducing Bradley Chubb inside to that 4-eye technique and some blitz-centric looks. You're not doing that on 3rd and 2 because they're running right at him. They're double teaming him and forklifting him off the ball, probably. But on 3rd and 8, you can live with that because guys can run the football at that point. So Broncos on first and second down against the run, gonna have to earn it. They were terrible there last year, on top of having a bad offense, on top of having bad pass rushers. It's just bad overall, but bad for the pass rush. But we'll see how that works out this season. Mark coming in saying, I really think hiring Capers was a smart move as well. Yeah, absolutely.
I do too. You needed some experience in there. Absolutely. Yep. Even if it was just, even if it's not on an on-field coach, you needed a consultant, someone that's been there and done that you can lean on when you say, hey, I got a problem with this guy complaining about this guy. How do I handle it? It's the stuff that you don't see, that you're not expecting as a first-time head coach or a first-time coordinator, and how to handle. So, yeah, I think bringing in Capers, because I thought they would bring in somebody that had a little more experience as one of the coordinators for sure, especially the defensive coordinator. But this is a very similar move. So this is just as good in my opinion, because you get the youth, you get the enthusiasm, you get the new ideas, and you get the experience all wrapped into one without having to use one of your on-field coaching slots. So I thought this was a great hire too, Mark.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I didn't really love Capers there at the end with the Packers, being in East Iowa for most of my life. A lot of Packer fans complaining about him towards the end, but we'll see how it works out for him. I don't know if we shouted out Elton here for the stars, but we appreciate you, Elton. Thank you so much. Big E's also in the house saying, good morning, Nick and Scott. We also have Jeremy saying, send Benito on delayed blitzes on 3rd and 8. We're going to have to talk a little bit of more about simulated pressures. I've been watching my coaching clinics. Kirby Smart, that was a really good one out there. A couple other good ones as well. Honestly, what I need to do is go back and watch the all 22 of the Rams defense just in succession. Just a bunch of Rams games, see what they were doing up front. We'll see how it works. Greg poking the bear a little bit here before we get on out, saying, Scott, just get you off subject for a minute. There has to be more going on in Georgia than just voting. There's baseball. Youth baseball is going on in Georgia right now.
Yeah, we got in tryouts for GSA, for Georgia Soccer Association's having tryouts right now. So I got 3 days of soccer tryouts, baseball tournaments, 7 weekends in a row. Daughter's softball just started. So kids sports. But they're out of school today. It's the last week of school and they get Tuesday off. So, and what I'm looking forward to, I always said I don't want to rush it. One of the first things I became as an older dad was the first time I helped myself say, I can't wait until, as I'm watching him until he's older. I'm like, yes, you can, because I'm going to blink twice. I'm going to be 50 and he's going to be out of the friggin' house. But 2 days, no more elementary school in this house, which means an extra hour and a half of sleep for middle school. I am looking forward to that. I got 2 more days of elementary school and that 6:30 mandatory wake up call. I get up at 6:30 on the weekends anyway, but that's because I want to.
Sure you do. I'm okay with that if we're hiking, but other than that, I don't know. We also got Peter coming in saying Broncos in a tough division, questionable offensive line, tight ends, and even wide receivers. Even Wilson had a dip year last year, and the staff are very new. I think 14 is fair to start, but the Raiders should be lower. I agree as well. Putting them behind the Raiders, I just don't know how you can match up the Raiders to the Broncos one by one and think that the Broncos are a worse team. Somebody explain it to me like I'm 5.
I think part of it was the last year. You go 10-8 versus 7-10. They're starting ahead, so you haven't caught them yet. That would be the only thing that I could think of.
And I mean, Max Crosby's awesome. He was one of the better edge rushers in football last season. They added Chandler Jones also. Moving on from Gus Bradley, is going to be an addition via subtraction because, my God, buddy, 2011 called. They want their defensive scheme back. So let's move forward. But offensive line is worse for the Raiders. The secondary is worse for the Raiders. The quarterback's the worst for the Raiders. Those are like three of the top five most important things.
Well, and then you've got the wild card in there.
Which is?
You know what that is. This whole mixture could blow up and implode is the head coach.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know. You don't want to say, okay, well, we feel better about Hackett than McDaniels. You don't know for sure. I know who I'd rather hire. But it's a completely volatile mix there where you could catch lightning in a bottle for one season and then it explodes. You don't know. That's a huge wild card X factor being thrown into the Raiders season.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong at all there. So Mark coming in saying, what's up with your pod, Scott? This is a good one. And then we can get on out of here to kick off the rest of our Tuesday.
We will go live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I say we, meaning me for sure. And then if Nick wants to come in at 9:30, he can. I'll just bring him in as soon as he gets there. But we'll be going live. We're going to talk a little bit. There's a good article on Bleacher Report if you wanted to check it out. And Nick might hit on it tonight on building the Broncos. So don't miss building the Broncos with Nick and Carl tonight. I think it's Nick and Carl, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Building the Broncos with a 2018 redraft. We might talk a little bit of that tomorrow. And then, we'll talk some OTAs and some different stuff as well. So we'll be on at 9 a.m. Eastern on my channel. So, which is youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy.
Absolutely. I've been enjoying that. Also, didn't mention on the way out yesterday, but yesterday was our last Monday show for Broncos for Breakfast for a bit. I think we'll be back, but this is just, Scott's kids are going on summer vacation. Everything's kind of ramping down a bit as far as football. And honestly, I could use one more day of sleeping in. That would be very helpful for me as well. So Rob Bucksbaum coming in, $5 super. Thank you so much, Rob. Say, Nick, love your Top Gun, Pokemon, and Office references. # explain it to me like I'm 5. I need to watch Top Gun to make the Top Gun references.
Well, and for me, explain it to me like I'm 5 was Philadelphia, not The Office. Was Denzel Washington as the lawyer in Philadelphia. Explain this to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Yeah. Michael Scott may have swiped that one, but that one was Philadelphia. Great movie.
Tom Hanks, right?
Yes. Tom Hanks, Denzel, great movie. Antonio Banderas, really, really good movie.
Have not seen it, but know of it. Classic movies. You and Jeremy need a movie podcast. That's what needs to happen here.
Hey, there's an idea.
Yeah, God, sell it. But okay, guys, we're gonna get on out of here. We're approaching an hour now. I gotta walk the dog, classic, and get him out there before it starts raining. Again, everyone, please send me a anti-rain dance. We'll send some to the south for this weekend because I do not want to lead a group of 8 people into the woods where it's going to be wet and cold and miserable. I can handle it. I can put me through misery. I feel bad putting other people through misery. So there's the anti-rain dance. Scott's in for the Jeremy's in for the movie podcast. That'd be great. Make sure you guys are following Scott and I on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at Huddle Up Pod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you head out to huddleuppod.com to check out the gear. We got the coffee mugs here. Branding. There you go, Scott. Cheers. Prost to you. We have all the mugs. We got the hats, all the gear. So make sure you go to huddleuppod.com, which has recently been redone and looks really snazzy. The website itself, makes you want to buy. Also, make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, joining our groups there at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. And as the ticker says on the bottom for our YouTube folks, number one thing you can do if you're not contributing via the super chats, which we greatly appreciate everyone coming in here today doing that. But not everybody's in a position to do that. Please subscribe, like, and share. Hit the bell notification on your screen over on YouTube. So that way you know when we go live. We're going to live, Tuesday, Thursday morning is this show going forward now for a little bit. We have Thomas's show Friday mornings. We have Kim's show Wednesday mornings. So we're coming at you for that morning drive slot now. And also we have all the evening shows. So we got Broncos Scruffy Bone coming in here saying, greetings from Germany, boys. Guten Morgen. I think I nailed it.
That seems like a new name. So welcome. You're not alone in Germany and Broncos country. Kathy Schmidt is over there too. So welcome. I love the international stuff. So you gotta let me know who your team is, Bronco. Are you a Dortmund guy? Bayern? Didn't Frankfurt just win the Europa League? I'm into all that football stuff.
Schalke, right? No, it's not. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
throwing out.
that's one. Yep.
That's
FC
one.
Schalke.
Yes, nailed it. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get on out of here. We appreciate you. You guys have a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning over on Scott's channel. We'll see you tonight on Building the Broncos. But until then, choose kindness, choose compassion. Go Broncos.